Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey.
Just wanted to show you guys this treasure trove that I just opened up in this box. This is my mom's books, but it's all the books I used to read as a little girl that really had me inspired, like King Arthur and his Knights. These books are freaking old. What do we got in here? We're going to use this today. A Tale of Two Cities, Poetry of Today, Moby Dick. Some of these are so old, they're just falling apart. What is this? The Jungle Book, Black Beauty. Oh my gosh, these books really need help. Heidi, this is my mom's old cookbook. I remember. I'm going to pull one of these to look at today. Oh, there are stories from the Arabian Nights. I used to love this one. Look, The Wizard of Oz, Tom Sawyer. Oh, they're so old. I wish I could get these rebound. Oh my god. Alright, let's see which one we want to read from today. They're saying to get Heidi. So we're going to pull Heidi out, and we're going to use this in our show today. So I will see you all again in a minute. Bye. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to this show all about the supermoon and the next 10 days, of which this next full moon is a part of. I'm sitting here in front of this open window. I want you just to enjoy the breeze. Drinking a cup of Irish, I'm going to be coming in on the video, Irish breakfast tea. Let's see, if you're new here, welcome. Settle in. If you're a returning listener, viewer, family member, thank you so much for joining me here yet again. I'm going to be bebopping between some different things, so I haven't really set up the camera. I like this breeze coming through the window. The plants, the energy of the plants, the energy of kind of like a new dawn. So let's wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the spirit guides who overlight this show, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, got the Pleiadians here. And see what they would like to channel through me as messages for you about the next 10 days. I've gathered a few little items. I may actually move the camera in a minute. If I start to pull some cards, I'll move it over to the card table. And if you're listening on the podcast, well, as always, you can listen with your master ears, your master third eye. You can envision what's going on, listening to the sound of my voice, the light language coming through my voice, coming through this channel, this show to you. Let's go ahead and activate our little Reiki stone. This little particular tower just says it wants to be used for Reiki. So I'm bringing this in on the camera. It's like a cracked, oh, look at that. Looks very rainbowish right now. It's like a cracked quartz tower. Ooh, fun. I'm letting the guides kind of take over on this show. I don't have any preconceived notions about what we're going to do. I'm just going to go with the flow, with the intention that things come through that are most needed by those that are watching this now. Connecting into our collective here at TLC for the Soul.
So we're activating the Reiki and this stone to come through. So that is also multidimensional healing we can offer to you as you're watching and or listening. This Reiki knows what it's doing. It's wise. It's a wise old soul Reiki. And it will go where it's most needed for your highest and greatest good, be it the mental body, the physical body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, or somewhere else in your auric field where you need that now. I'm going to set this down over here out of your view. Actually, I'm going to actually set it in the window for those that are watching. Don't fall out of the window. I'm going to set it right here in the corner. Definitely some big winds of change coming through. This morning when I woke up, I got 2 cards, which I will describe and show you if you're watching. The first one was the Tower. I'm using here the Magical Nordic Tarot. This tower's quite different. This Tower card is quite different. It's got a house with many turrets. Looks like a castle, so to speak, with many turrets and flags and pennants at the top. And it's got a huge fire dragon going through the castle and kind of like shaking it up somewhat. And there's lightning bolts coming down out of the sky. The sky is a color of like very shamanic looking orange and reds and gray. And it says foundation. So I got this morning. I was like, what? And we actually did have, within, 20 minutes or so of this card coming out, we did have a huge thunderstorm. It got super dark. All the street lights came on because it was so dark. A storm whipped through, huge winds, a lot of rain. Some of our tree limbs of our fairy tree got blown down. A big limb came down. If you watched last time I showed you the fairy tree, a big limb was laying on the ground. This house is old. Some of my windows started leaking. The windows aren't old, but there's parts of the house that need some work. So some of the windows started leaking. I had to go pull down curtains and put up things for water to drip into. A lot was happening, but now look at it. It's beautiful and sunny. There's a south, this window that we're showing you is a south facing window, and there's a lot of beautiful, nice fresh air coming through. The plants are loving it. And then the other card that came out was the moon, also from the same card deck. And the keyword on this card is illusion. I love this particular moon card because the moon is depicted inside some concentric circles that look also very shamanic. This is a Nordic deck, so but very shamanic. And there's 2 foxes. It looks like, I would say, a male and a female sitting facing each other, looking up at the moon, and there's a crab in front of them. This reminds me of Cancer season. And in the background, there's all these, what could they be? Are they spirit guides? Are they ghosts? Are they people who aren't awakened, who are kind of freaking out at this? Because this card is like a super moon. I mean, it is emanating out huge amounts of stuff. And these 2 fox on the card to me are just yeah, we're all right. We know we're protected. We know it's a super full moon and we're not going to get ourselves all riled up. And the people in the background are either supporting us as our guides or people on the earth. It does look very like earthbound people, either earthbound spirits or people this full moon, it's rocking my world. I can't take it anymore. And so the guides are what's hiding beyond the shadows? What can't you see beyond this full moon? Hence the next 10 days kind of a setup. And then I was guided to, I keep having there's this box in my living room, and I have not unpacked all my boxes yet. And I was like, oh, I remember I had to like get rid of one big box that was on top of it. And at the foundation of the really big box, which I ended up recycling, was this box I had forgotten about. It was all my mother's books from when she was a little girl. And they were books that she passed down to me that I used to read when I was a little girl and inspired me. And I put a clip of that. If you're watching on YouTube, I put a clip of that at the beginning of this show. And it was, we have the Arabian Nights, we had King Arthur, we had Moby Dick and the Jungle Book, like all these really cool books. And they're really like all old and falling apart. And the one that Spirit guided me to pull was Heidi. I don't think I ever read this story. So we're going to intuitively look at Heidi here in a minute. But on the front cover, she's like a young girl. There's some mountains behind her. She's barefoot. And she's walking a goat. But the goat has like a little flower leash on. Okay, let's we're going to see. So where do we go first? Let's start with Heidi. So I'm just going to like ruffle through. Oh, what was that? See, I already saw something. Oh, a little flower bookmark was inside Heidi. Who made this? I guess my mom made this. I don't remember making this. It's a little bookmark with 3 flowers on it. They almost look like poinsettia, except whoever did this colored them blue. It's very creative and very out of the lines. Very childlike, just some blue flowers. It was a little homemade bookmark. We're going to read this then, because this page is page 189, and it's called When Church Bells Ring. So we're going to see what this has to do with the coming time period, or what's not being shown to us yet. What's hiding in the shadows. Heidi read the story of the prodigal son who was happy at home with his father's cows and sheep. The picture showed him leaning on his staff, watching the sunset. Suddenly, he wanted to have his own inheritance and be able to be his own master. Demanding the money from his father, he went away and squandered it all. Isn't this a biblical story too? When he had nothing in the world left, he had to go as a servant to a peasant who did not own fine cattle like his father, but only swine. Yeah, this is like a biblical story. His clothes were rags, and for food he only got the husks on which the pigs were fed. Often he would think what a good home he had left, and when he remembered how good his father had been to him and his own ungratefulness, he would cry from repentance and longing. Then he said to himself, I shall go to my father and ask his forgiveness. When he approached his former home, his father came out to meet him. What do you think will happen now? Heidi asked. You think that the father is angry and will say, didn't I tell you? But just listen. And his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck. And the son said, Father, I have sinned against heaven. This is interesting. And in thy sight, I am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. Isn't it a beautiful story, grandfather? Asked Heidi when he sat silently beside her. Interesting. So there's some forgiveness going on between, well, it's like a story within a story, because there's the biblical story that they read together. And then there's the grandfather and Heidi. And here, I didn't read it all, but he looks like he kind of like after the story, after she takes a little nap, the grandfather then gets down on his hands and knees and kind of says, ask God for forgiveness. And then the next morning, there's like all these church bells ringing. A story within a story, both about forgiveness. Let's see. Let me just pull out this rainbow deck. and then see what else we're guided to do. This is Tarot at the End of the Rainbow. I already can feel where this is going. Yep. What is that? The Ten of Wands? The Ten of Wands, putting down that heavy burden. In this case, the person carrying the Ten of Wands is like a ram guy. Like a ram guy. He looks like a ram. He's like a guy who's a ram. He has little cloven feet and he's not the devil. He's like a mountain goat kind of a guy, or what is it? Yeah. He's got those ram horns. And he's carrying like all these, he's going over a bridge. He's carrying all these wands. And there's a rainbow like really far off in the distance past the mountains. I guess he's kind of like, I wish I didn't have to, I just wish I didn't have to just keep walking over these bridges. Oh, it says supermoon. So there's another portal. Wish I didn't have to just keep walking over these bridges. And that I could put these freaking wands down and move forward. And it looks like for some of you, the way forward is ancestral forgiveness. Yeah, it is. Healing family lines. It's very poignant too. And my mom must really be here right now. Is it okay to share this story? Okay. She's saying okay. So when I open this book, there's like one little illustration. And it's like the grandfather and the little girl walking. Whoops. But, is there something written over here too? No. Walking, but somebody has taken pencil and they've like scribbled all over it. And sometimes I look in these scribbles to see if I see anything coming through. Somebody like scribbled and they scratched all over the grandfather. With Heidi's hand in his, they wandered down together. Scribbled and scratched all over the grandfather. And here's this goat again. We've got this goat man over here on the Ten of Wands. So we're healing a lot of ancestral stuff. We, the people watching this, you, all the work that you've done, that I've done, that we've done, some of the work we've done, you and I together offline, working on stuff, helping each other out. And it means a lot. It means, so now when I see this, I'm going to go back to this moon card. Now when I see this, the work that we've done means a lot to our ancestors. And if I look again, I could almost see the little figures in the back of this card, like they are spirit guides, kind of cheering us on, like, oh, you got a little bit more work to do. You still are carrying some wands. And the key is in the forgiveness. And maybe can you even forgive ancestors you didn't even know for what they've done that might be impacting you now? Because my mom's childhood was not a very good one. Her father was very abusive, both physically and mentally to her, throughout her, from a little girl all the way into, like her 20s until she decided to break free from him. And, everybody's got their own demons, and he would just take out his anger on her. And she was able to break free from that. But did she ever fully heal from that? No, I don't think she did. Knowing her, even up to when she passed, I don't think she really found the key of how to completely move out of that energy of feeling, like a victim and feeling persecuted. All the stuff we're working through now. I think our ancestors did not have the means, the spiritual wherewithal to understand how to remove themselves, like how to heal and remove themselves from these situations. And I think they could kind of, in a sense, forgive, but there was so much energy work that needed to be done, and it just wasn't the right time for them to do that work. And so here we are Now I'm talking back 2 generations, and I talked about a story within a story. We've talked about biblical times story. So maybe some of this stuff is been around in your around in your family line for like a really, really long time. And forgiveness is coming up again to help clear away some of these burdens, so that we don't have to be like this this Ten of Wands ram guy, where he's like still walking with all of these wands and looking out like, when can I put these wands down? So I would say some of the things that we can't see with this supermoon and this next 10 days are energetic portals that are coming in as opportunities to go deeper with your work and to uncover things that you may have forgotten about, like these books that came up. So nostalgia is going to be coming back. Things are going to be coming back around, and looking for your attention, and Spirit's going to be bringing up ways for you to further connect with that. So Heidi might be a story. Are there any remakings or retellings of that? Anyway, that book is really old. That book is copyright 1912. Coming over here to water, so I'm going to stay hydrated. Lots of water coming up, lots of emotions. When you cry tears of whatever they may be, you need to stay extra hydrated. All right, bottle cap. Anything else we want to share? Because our board is still got the tower, we've got the moon. I guess I'm going to put these 2 together. All right, I want me to draw from the Gill Tarot. I wish I had some exciting story to read, but it just seems like it's somewhat of a quiet. We're in a transition this next 10 days between Cancer season and Leo season. Yes, and as I say that, I draw the 9 of Wands again with preparation is the keyword on this card. And this card is all black, and the wands are like white candlesticks. We're in this, I just don't like to say the word void space, but we're in this in-between time. This Cancer season has been preparing us to move forward, getting closer to the Lion's Gate. It looks like there's still work that could be being done in between now and the next 10 days. Cleaning up old stuff, old patterns, old ways of being. Maybe even like your home, like my house needs to be cleaned really bad. I was there I go again. I need the house. Come on. I need that house elf. I need my house manager person. I need my Marguerite from Moxie and Roses. But things coming in to be sorted and cleaned and tidied up because the Leo season, once it begins here in a couple of weeks. We also have the Galactic New Year. If you follow the galactic calendar, the Galactic New Year begins on July. There's the time outside of time or whatever, I think is July 25th. And then the Galactic New Year is July 26th. That's a whole other calendar system. You can look it up online. It's really cool. It's really fun to play with. If you're a starseed, that might be something that would interest you. Just look up Galactic Calendar. I don't have it in front of me now, but... All right, what goes in the middle of the board? Loveland Tarot. Okay, we're going to grab Loveland. And I'm going to switch the camera here in just a second for those of you watching. We're going to get a look at what's on the board. Okay, Loveland Tarot, because some of you see things. And those of you listening may actually hear things in the background or that I say that I don't automatically like point out. That may be messages for you. All right, Loveland, we got We Help. Look up to the skies today, star child. Legions of distant family and friends are here to help you, your work and the planet. You are not alone.
There's all sorts of beings in this drawing that I did. They're standing in front of a peace sign. There's beings from many different planetary systems. They are here to help. They're going to be here kind of in full force between now and the Lion's Gate. Well, even beyond, they're always here, but there's certain times come in where it's very, very potent times, and they kind of ramp up their support. It seems very simple this next 10 days, but it's not. I think there's still stuff hidden that we're not getting to see right now. Why? Why is that? All right, I'm going to grab a Pleiadian Power card. It's a dreamy time still, like my dog is over here asleep. All right, this is my deck too. A Pleiadian Power. Let's see what you've got to say since we had Star Family come out. So they're giving me 2 cards. We may get the drum here in a minute. Yep, guides again. Enlightened Rescue Cat is a guide. Guards and protects you during times of stress. This is one of the very first spirit guides I got on my little spirit guide list of spirit guides for those of you who followed me for a while. It was a Samhain. It was the spirits were black cats at Samhain who had died, who had passed in like not so good circumstances, and so they were coming in spirit form and wanting like to be a familiar to people. And so I grabbed one of those because they grabbed one of those because they were so cute. And this little black cat, mine is a little black cat. The one in the picture is black and white cat with really pretty blue eyes. But and then he's like a cat holding some yarn. So black cats coming in, familiars coming in to help. And I did have this moon is very potent, and it seems like whenever there's a lot going on energetically, my passed on pets, some of them show up in my dreams. And last night I had lately these 2 show up together. So they passed within 2 weeks of each other back in 2019. One was 2 years old or 3 years old when she passed. She actually got lymphoma at 2 years old, but and the other one was 12 years old. So it was just energetically a time, like I guess their work was done and they decided to both leave at the same time. But they showed up in my dreams last night, and these dreams are kind of always the same. Like I'm like trying to take care of them and trying to make sure that they get outside and they have their food and their water and that they're taken care of. And so there may be some guilt that still needs to be cleared over this next 10 days. Because I always feel like, did I do enough for these pets? You know, obviously, especially with the pets, like, did I do enough for these pets? Did I take care of them the way I should have taken care of them? Especially in their final days. Once I knew the younger one was sick for about a year, and I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I did not know the older one was sick at all. The younger one passed at home in the morning one day when I woke up. And I felt like, could I have done more for her? Because at night, I remember the night before she was like crying and crying and crying. I was like, something's not right, but I don't know what. And then in the morning, I had a few minutes with her. I went to take the other one out, came back in, and the little one had passed. And then the older one, I didn't even know he was sick. I had no clue. He was really good at like keeping those kinds of things from me in the shadows. He was also black and white. I've talked about him quite a bit on this channel. He was like a wizard dog. And out of the blue, he starts looking. I remember specifically saying to Spirit, like, better not do anything with I used to call him my son. Better not do anything with my son Peabody, because I need him now. And then here we go, come to find out. Out of the blue, he's sick. Take him to the vet, like emergency take him to the vet, because he went into like an emergency situation. And the vet was like, this dog is terminally ill. He had malignant lung cancer. And like, this dog is terminally ill and he's not going to make it. And I was like, what? What the heck? And within a week, he passed at home. That one a little bit more like cut to the core than the little one, because I hadn't had the little one as long. But even then, there was like this guilt, like, did I do everything I could have done for him? Because how could he have been sick? Because malignant lung cancer just didn't show up overnight. I was like, how did I not notice that he wasn't feeling good? Was I like so absorbed in my own little world that I didn't even catch that? And even a distant relative of mine who had come to stay with me for a few days, like a month or so before, was like, I knew something wasn't right with that dog, because he would cough in the mornings. He would cough, and I was like, oh yes, allergies. There's no reason for concern. And she told me afterwards, because I called her on both occasions when both dogs passed. I was like beside myself. I didn't know who to call, and I called her like, they're dying, they're dead. And she's like, I knew this one was sick, because she just said she had a feeling about it. I was like, how did I miss that? Could I have done anything? And apparently lung cancer, like there's probably nothing I could have done to have prevented that. But he really did a good job. Either he did a good job or Spirit did a good job of keeping that under wraps until like the last possible minute, where there's pretty much nothing I could do about it anymore at that point. I mean, he was sick, and then within then he was gone. And so he shows up in my dreams a lot, and in my dreams a lot, I'm always trying to like overcompensate, I guess, for the fact that, I felt like I didn't do enough to help him out or something. Whole other story we could get. That's a people and pet story we really need to get into. But so there may be some of that coming up to be cleared. It's like twofold. It's like a story within a story, because it's like the love of your familiars, be it physical pets in your 3D world, or pets, or even people in the spirit world, like coming back around, showing up. It's very Samhain moment, very that kind of season of like the dead coming back from the grave kind of a thing, to just ask for your favor. Like they're asking for your forgiveness too. It's like a two-way street. And so anyway, just be aware those things might be coming out of the shadows. You forewarned is forearmed, or whatever it's called. That's just one card. I haven't gotten past the light and rescue cat yet. Telling all these sad stories about animals passing. And they're really not. I guess they kind of can be sad stories. But if I pull myself back from that, like those pets are always with me. They're around the house and all of that. So it's not that. The other card is a Pleiadian power message. A dream is just a dream until you take action. A dream is just a dream until you take action. All right, I'm going to put this over here. I think I'm going to actually, for those of you watching, I'm going to switch the camera now so you can look at the board. So let's see here. We're at 31 minutes, 36. Okay. So for those of you watching, I'm showing you the board now with the cards. And I think we've got maybe one more card here, but you can take a look. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There may be things you see around on the board. And what's interesting is when I put the black and white cloth down, they had me cover up a bunch of my crystals. Rather than take them down, they just had me like cover them up. Like there's things that aren't supposed to be seen yet or something. It's very interesting. I like this rock right here. I don't know if you can see it. What now? Oh, I have some of these decks on the way. I think there's one more card. Where do you want that to come from? Shaman's Drum. We're also kind of getting into feeling the vibe of a coming seasonal change, a wheel of the year turning with Lunasa or Lammas coming up on August the 1st. in the northern hemisphere. And so it starts to feel, it's July-ish, it starts to feel more autumnal to me. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you can flip that. What is that? You'd be coming into summertime, like early summer. So you're feeling like this vibe of like a seasonal change. And already over the past week or so, I've been wanting to watch like Halloween movies and Halloween themed like card readings and stuff. Like I'm already starting to feel that. So having me pull out my deck, Shaman's Drum. We haven't seen Shaman's Drum in a while. Shaman's Drum to me is an autumnal deck I like to use, as is Bubble, my other deck. All my decks, everything I talk about in this show is always in the show notes. But here's Shaman's Drum. So we haven't played with this. Let's see what's coming up there. Make sure I'm actually recording. There's a deeper message here too. I feel like there's more to this. Let me grab this Reiki stone. So Reiki's been flowing. This stone is a really good conductor of the Reiki. I was guided to put this like white, what is that? Like a tiger lily out. The card we got from Shaman's Drum is Oasis. It's a waterfall in like a deeply wooded, it does look like a calming oasis, a deeply wooded location. And the message is, when all seems lost and hope is gone, a healing oasis will bring you to song. This is watery. This is like the energy still of Cancer. This is like an energy of like an in-between time, because this card has a look of like, is it summer? Is it fall? It's kind of hard to tell. There's a lot of deep greens, but the sun seems a little bit lower in the sky than normal. It just feels like it's different for each one of you, a time for like going underground, so to speak, and mining for gold. The gold being all these things we just talked about with the basically, why are we doing shadow work so early? They're gonna have me throw out this leaf. It's like a little autumnal leaf. I'm going to pull one final card from the Labyrinth of Dragonshire. And if it's the card that just jumped out at me earlier, that would be funny. Yep, it's 3 cards stuck together. Oh, and there at the bottom of the deck is the Samhain card. It was left in the card drawer. So at the bottom of the deck, what is the Samhain card from this deck, which is Spirit, Soul Work, Ghost Return, Ancestors Rise, Boo. A lot of different meanings come up with this card. One of them is kind of like, watch your interactions with those in the physical world as well as the spirit world. Just focus on having the deepest respect for all beings, because I have a feeling that you're going to have to be like holding your tongue in certain situations. And it's just something to be forewarned about, because the next card out is Boundaries, 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 number 22. This always comes out, and there's 3 stars and boundaries 3 times. This always comes out when there's a supermoon happening during this 10 days. Everything's heightened, including those that are not on the spiritual path, which means while you may be vibing high and doing your soul work and your service work and all that, you could have others of a lower vibration who are not, and who are going to be deeply impacted by this full moon that's coming up. It's a full moon in Capricorn. They may have a lot of stuff rising to the surface that they don't know how to deal with. it may somehow come back to you in some way, shape, or form, and you are just being asked. We got a biblical story about forgiveness in today's show. You're just being asked to like draw on your Christ consciousness and kind of turn the other cheek. It's a battle. They're saying it's a battle you're not going to win if you choose to engage. So you might as well just choose to pull back and allow yourself that peace of mind of knowing like, hey, I can choose the higher vibration. I can choose the high road at any time. Just choose the high road. If any of those situations come up, just know that they're like passing clouds. And so it may be that you hear from someone from your past. They come in hot and heavy with something that's totally like weird and out of the blue to you. And you are going to feel this like pull and tug in your soul basically to engage with them, because there's like some karmic stuff going on where that's kind of what you've done in the past or even in past lifetimes. You guys kind of like go round and round. And so you're just being asked to be the bigger person. Basically just hold your tongue. And I saw this last night too in a show I was watching. Oh my God, it was so cute. I really got on like a Japanese kick last night. Spirit took me down I just kind of fell into this, this Japanese band, like showed up out of the blue in my YouTube thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I started listening to their music. I really, really like them. They're kind of a prog metal band, but they're a fusion. Here we go again with like things within things. They're a fusion of like the new and the old, because they bring in a lot of like the older, like ancient Japanese type instruments along with newer instruments. I like off the top of my head, don't know the name of all of them, but I really, is it Wagaki band? I love them. They are amazing to me. And Spirit kept just bringing me video after video after video as much as I wanted. It's like the abundance is there as much as you want of something that makes you feel good. Spirit is spoon feeding it to you now. Like it's just showing up everywhere. This morning I woke up and there was all these videos I wanted to watch, and I'm like, okay, but I could sit and watch the same messages all day long. I might as well make you guys a video too, in reciprocity for all the good abundance that's coming my way. But if I didn't, and the thing with that band is I didn't need to know the words because they only sing in Japanese. I didn't need to know the words to feel the energy was really high vibe, just of the work that they were doing. And then I got to see like a whole concert where it was dubbed in English. So I got to see the translation of all the songs. And I was like, yep, I just knew it. Like even the translation of the songs was about believing in a higher power, being the bigger person, ascension, so to speak, in the way they were singing about things. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed listening to them. And then the other message with the forgiveness was, I like Spy Family. It's on Hulu. If you can get past the ads on Hulu, I really need to pay for the ad free because the ads are very annoying, but I have so many streaming services now, though. I have to maybe that's what it is. I have to clean up. So cleanup's coming in again. I have to clean up, see all the streaming services I have and which ones I really like all of them, because heck, I don't even barely go do anything. So I really should have that's my outlet to watch movies and stuff. I don't have regular TV. I don't do news channels and none of that. But I do like my Netflix, gotta have my Stranger Things and all of that. But Spy Family is a super cute Japanese show. It is also dubbed in English if you have Hulu. And the little girl, it's a fake family. Like they're only together because they're spies and they're on a mission. But the little girl had to learn about turning the other cheek. This episode was super cute. Anyways, that's coming up again in different ways. And here it is. And I saw this message this morning too. The next card out is Let Go of My Ego. And did I see a progression? Hold on. It's card 31. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries is card 22. Let Go of My Ego is card number 23. So these kind of go together. There's 3 dots here. On the front of the card is a big I. I just saw this same message this morning on a channel I was watching. A bunch of the letter I's came out when Rhea was pulling charms. on a teacup tarot, and she's like, you're gonna this week, hers was the next 10 days, and she's like, you're gonna have to let go of your ego, because there was a bunch of eyes. It all goes back to this person or this situation where you need to have really strong boundaries. So it's interesting that it came up in her reading and it's coming up in mine. So this is a universal thing. It's not just you. It's not just you. It's these moon energies, these tower moments coming up to be cleared. And then the last card out is the A with the hummingbird, which is card number 28, which reduces to a 1, which is air, new clarity, messages, mind chatter, and wings. So this is stuff we can't see yet either, but I am going to read, because this morning I did pull this card for myself. It's sitting right in front of me, but I want to see the book because I want to read. And then, is this the last one? I said, is this the last one? And they're like, maybe it is. I pulled this card this morning, which is the hummingbird and joy. So that goes to me together with this other hummingbird card that I'm showing you. I'm going to go look at this hummingbird. I'm looking at the book. It's in the air element. Oh. Card number 69. I mean, it's not card number 69. I'm sorry. It's card number 42, but it's on page 69 of this book. And the affirmation or the keyword that goes wrong with this card is the smallest things in life offer the biggest spectrum of light. The tiny yet energetic hummingbird reminds us to find joy in every moment and taste the sweet nectar of life with gratitude. The hummingbird has the amazing ability to beat its wings up to 50 times per second, creating a beautiful humming vibration. The hummingbird urges us to stop wasting time. Oh, it doesn't say that though, but they had me say that. But the hummingbird urges us to stop wasting time was what was channeled. But the hummingbird in the book, it says, urges us to stop wasting energy on things, ideas, dramas, or beliefs that are not for our highest good, and instead asks us to look to what we already have in our lives to feel grateful for. We are gifted with the full spectrum and sensory insight and delight that life has to offer as a reward for our fullest attention. We all know the saying that the best things in life are free, and the hummingbird teaches us this truth and also adds that the smallest things can also provide the biggest reward. All right, so I'm saying the last card is going to be a flower therapy card because I feel like this show is heavily focused on cards. I did, if you're wanting another like a really fun reading, I did post a reading over on my other channel, Loveland Tarot. It's Escape to the Fairy Tree, advice from the fairies on how to keep going. And there's some really funny stuff. They like had me laughing. All right, so this is flower therapy. This is Robert Reeves Doreen Virtue deck. It's really old deck for me. And let's see, this is our last card. Things we want you to know about the next 10 days. Oh, it's back again. All right, so we're starting to loop back to the same types of messages. So this emotional healing is very important over this next 10 days. This is the Bleeding Heart flower. It's safe for you to let go of old emotional pain. By doing so, you allow your heart to mend. So we've come full circle in our messages. Just throw down the Bleeding Heart. I'm going to see if there's anything else going on with the Reiki or anything else we need to do. They really want me to drum. All right, let's do a couple of minutes of drumming to close this out. Let's see what this drum is supposed to invoke or evoke. Just bring it up in front. This is the drum. All right, so let me just... Oh, it's coming in really... Sounds like a heartbeat. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard this drum make this sound before. This is a skin drum though, so I have to kind of watch it. The weather, there's, all right, Hundehe. Hey. My goodness. This is the deepest I've ever heard this drum sound. All right, let's get lost in this for a minute. There's something to that. Wow. Interesting. I'm going to pick up the camera and I'm going to show you one more thing before we close out here. I have this drum kind of hanging over my closet door, and there was little kids that lived in this house before I did. I think the people before me had 3 kids, and so I find little like doodles and stuff. Like everything's not, everything's not perfectly, what's the word, some of their stuff, evidence of the people that are here before is still here. I didn't like make them like remove every little darn thing. But as I, let's see if I can hold this and show you. Can you see? Yeah, you can kind of see it. So what's hidden in the shadows? So scratched in the door, where's my finger, is I love you. I love you. Like little kids scratched in the door. I love you. And the letter I, a heart, and the letter U. Spirit coming through again. Spirit coming through again. Saying I love you. All right, friends, that is all I have to share about the next 10 days. It seems like it'd be very fruitful. If you can stay in your power, keep your strong boundaries. Things may be showing up from the past or beyond the grave for you to address. And you've got this. You've got this. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. And I will see you all again soon. Take care.